Welcome to Toy Hill Studio. My name is Kendall Kessler. I've decided to try what I tried last time one more time. Actually, what I have here is really more of what I wanted with the paint. I ended up doing kind of a spiral thing, but I wanted to have this kind of flow with the paint, but as always, these are very experimental and I was reacting to the color. I make zillions of decisions as I do this. As I say, these are experimental and I never know what's going to happen. I just have an idea at the beginning. Now I've got essentially the way I want the paint to go in black, but that's going to be gone because again I'm going to use a lot of paint in the brush, a lot of different colors, and just follow this. So that will be gone. I doubt that I'm going to reestablish it or anything. But you never know. I'm going to use a fairly small brush and a lot of paint and just see what happens. So much to do today. I know I'm always whining about that, but it's always true. Sure, I'm not the only one that says that. We're all so busy all the time. And I am got a headache. So I'm hoping that's not going to affect how this turns out, because it really, when you feel crummy, it does tend to show up. But been waking up with a bad headache. But look it up and find out what that is. And I know what it really is. It's just too much going on lately. We are going to be moving. We got to travel this weekend, so I'm rushing around trying to get everything done. So yeah, it's going to give you a headache. And as I said, I'm trying to keep the brush dry. I don't want to keep changing the brush because that takes a lot of time, and I want this to really move along. So I'm going to use the same brush. But I am going to this time follow the motion that I had intended in the other one, but didn't do, because as I said, I was just started reacting to the color and ended up with a spiral, which is nice. It turned out okay, but wasn't what I wanted. And this may not be either. You never know. Painting is always quite an adventure, no matter what you do. And I include my main stuff too. I'm getting close to done with a commission that's turned out really good, but for a while there it was going left or right, or everyone call it. It was going off. It was going not off a cliff, but it was kind of getting away from what I had started with and what we pretty much agreed with. So I always send a preliminary file. My paintings are done over a long period of time, oil paintings, thin to thick layers. And when I do commissions, which are really tricky because I can't read a person's mind, I send a preliminary file that is the first layer. And then it's just a matter of adding all the other layers. But sometimes I kind of veer off, and that's what started to happen. And I realized, oh no, this is not what I want. It's not what he wanted, so I need to get back to where I was. And I did, and I'm real happy with it now. Yeah, see, I do want that to pretty much go away. I want to keep that spiral effect, but I don't really want the black to show up. This is a really weird kind of color field painting. That's really not true, because color field doesn't usually have variations, but color field painting has very definite areas that are filled in. Al Held was real big on that and did some very interesting color field paintings, but this isn't. But at the start, it kind of looked like that, with very precise areas that it looks like I'm just going to fill in, which I'm not. But that's what it looked like at first, and then it would have been considered a color field painting. And an abstract, don't really see anything like this. It may remind you of something, but it's not really something you're going to see. So you either like it or you don't like it on the basis of the way it looks. Music without words. I know I say that ad nauseum, but there are always people that I run into that don't understand that. And as I've said before, I've run into people that get really angry with me, like, how dare you people do that? I'm like, what is your problem? I know you've heard music that you've liked that you didn't know the words to. It's the same thing, people. But that's okay. You shouldn't get uptight about it. You should just be happy that people pay attention to art, because some people have absolutely no use for it. And I always think that's really sad, because as children, it's so important, and that we lose that, it is really sad. We lose that delight in all art forms. I'll never forget watching my son dancing around and doing artwork, which was really cool because kids don't care. They just really express themselves. And I still have that, and I'm so glad I kept those. They're fascinating. A lot of artists have tried to imitate what children do, and you really can't. You really can't get that complete freedom again. Let's see, 5 minutes. Oh, this is coming along pretty good. I'm really doing a good job of talking and not paying attention so much so that when I react to it, it's not reacting to something that was stiff and planned. It's just reacting. As I've said before, I can't explain what I'm talking about. It's decades of practice, decades of just doing this and coming across all these different color relationships that I want to be vibrant and I want to be interesting, and that's not anything explained to anybody. But it's a wonderful experience, and I really do live to paint. Boy, headaches starting to go away. All right. My mother had trouble with headaches a lot. She died at 96, but she had a lot of trouble with headaches, and she found that if she would just take something, some bufferin or something, because she couldn't handle the other kind, right as it started, she could prevent it. But otherwise, she would get into a full-blown migraine with all that stuff where you can't look at light and all, and ugh. Glad I don't have those. Hope I never do. Hope I don't develop them. Okay, now that the line is really showing through there. I don't want that, so I'm gonna do this. Now, what's happening here, which I wasn't planning on, like I said, these are always experimental, is I'm getting kind of a perspective, a shape on these winding things, so that they're coming out in different areas, and I really like that. So, and I'm just using the same brush and just really wiping it down and picking up a lot of colors at the same time. Now, as I said in the last one, you don't do this. If you're learning to paint, this is not what you do, because it will crack off. But these are just experimental ones that I do not have for sale. So it's just really great to do this on YouTube. And doesn't matter if it cracks. But I will put them up in my portfolio, and they're available as prints. And the prints, the company that does my prints is amazing. They do the most beautiful work. That's large, small, wall art prints and prints on anything, just about anything with a kitchen sink. And you can even get them on face masks. And I've ordered some myself to check the quality, and they really are good. 7 minutes. Okay, we're doing good. Do want to get this done because this afternoon I've got some legal work to do, and I need to get that done, and don't want to have to go back into this, but what I do is very important to me, and I will not put up anything in my portfolio that I don't think is good. And so far I'm really, really liking this. I'm real glad I did this with the pattern, because I'm able to get this swirling motion that I wanted, and I'm not going to lose it because I'm following that pattern. So even though I'm reacting to the colors, and every time I see something that I really want to enlarge upon, I'm still sticking within these boundaries. So that's working out real good. But after this, I'm going to do something else. I keep saying I'm going to get back to my Skyline Beauty series. Those are so popular, and I really do want to do that. But they're a lot more work. I usually go into them a lot afterwards, and they take a while to make. And I always rush for time, like we all are. But it's real important to me to try to build up this YouTube channel. I want people to see my art. I want to get more and more people looking at what I do. And I think it's really fun to just talk through these and talk about what I do. And this is definitely coming along. It's going to take a while though, so I'm hoping it's not going to be a super long one. It's 9 minutes, 36 seconds. I might go back into a little bit because I don't want the black, and it's taking a while to get rid of that. But we'll see. But I am keeping the spacing the way I wanted it, and then just reacting to these colors and adding. The last one, I got so involved in reacting to the color that turned into a spiral, like I said, and that was okay, but it's not what I wanted. Okay. So weird doing this because even though my oil paints, I have developed a system where I'm using many colors at the same time because of all my experience. Not like this. I do that, but it's starting with thin layers, very thin layers, so it's not going to fall apart. But I do a lot of this where I am using a lot, and it's just, as I said, it comes from so much experience, and that my reaction time to what's happening is so strong that I can use a zillion colors and react to all the interrelationships all at once. And it's a fascinating experience because even though I sort of know what's going to happen, I don't really know exactly, which is something I always like to explain to people. I'm sure I've said this before. Everybody thinks that you just know how to paint. Well, not really. We sort of know how to paint, but we are always learning and always doing different things, and lots of times artists go back to ones. That is very true about going back to ones that are already done and changing them. I think I mentioned this before, that Pierre Bernard, famous colorist in the 20th century, would go into where one was hanging and he would get a friend to talk to the guard, and then he would go over there with some paints and change the painting. I know that may sound really strange, but the hardest part about painting is being happy with it, is feeling like it's really done. And sure, there's a lot of technical skill to it, tremendous amount, that I have learned over the years, but in fact, I feel like I just get anything. There's so many things I can do with paint that I couldn't before, but it's still a matter of, is it done? And to go in there and distract the guard, that's hilarious. But I can understand it. I shouldn't say it's hilarious because I can understand it. You're so frustrated because you really want to work on one again that you will go in there and see if you can just work on it and while it's on the wall. Actually, I'm going to be doing that, not going to where one is hanging, but I'm going to be getting some from my parents' house that I want to change. That's where I'm going this weekend, to get things from my parents' house. My mother passed away and father's been gone for 10 years. And I'm going to go in there and get some that I want to work on. And it's really exciting to me because I have learned over the years to let them live and not get too uptight. But there are some that I really want to get to, and they have several that I really want to change. Okay, I don't want to lose that pattern, but it would be easy to do. That may sound, if you weren't a painter, I could see that sounding kind of strange, but I am really psyched about getting those. And I am going to modify them, and I'm going to put them in my portfolio because they're not there. And several of them I think need a lot of work. They were done a long, long time ago, and they need a lot of work. They're going to essentially be in the same spirit of what I did, but they are going to be quite different when I'm done. And that is really exciting to me after all these years. I mean, you don't give something to someone or sell something to someone and go in there and say, hey, I need to work on it again. You don't do that. That's not right. Okay, I'm getting to the part where I think I want to add some more red, but I want to get a really small brush and just kind of touch this up. So I think I'm going to stop right there. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click on the link at the top of the description to see the final result, because I think it's going to change a little bit, not a whole lot. Also, there is a link to my website and to my shop on Etsy and other places where you can see my artwork.